Hey, Color Raine. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, I felt like I needed to do this in person. I just wanted to say, I feel like, the last couple of releases, it's something that's felt different, and it just hasn't felt the same. I don't know. I feel like ever since, wow, was it Vivid Pigments? Was it Vivid Pigments? Oh, it might have been that long ago, but I feel like nothing has been like quite the same, and I've been in a little bit of a denial about it. So I think I need to take a break, and I wish the best for you, and I hope that I hope you have all the growth in the world that you want, and maybe in time I'll come back. Maybe in time we can reconnect, but don't wait around for me, and I won't wait around for you. And yeah, no. I mean, I don't. This feels a little cruel to say, but it's not me. It's you. Yeah, I know that's mean to say, but it's how I feel, and you ask a hard question, so I want to answer honestly. I know, but we all change, I guess. Hi friends, strangers, internet. Okay, that was weird. So I know that kind of spoiled the review, but today we're talking about the Colored Raine Juicy Boost, the newest palette from Colored Raine. This big beefy 18 pan palette has 15 mattes and 3 shimmers, and there was a lot about this palette that turned me off, and there was a lot that drew me in. And when it comes right down to it, I decided to buy this at launch because I felt like Colored Raine is a brand whose quality I stand by. They made a palette that was magnetic, so I could take these shadows out and rearrange or put them in my single eyeshadow collection, which will be what happens. And so I was like, you know what? I trust Colored Raine. I think these colors could be nice in my collection, even if I don't love them as a standalone palette. Let's just do this. Now that I have the shadows, and I've had them for a couple of weeks now, it's time for me to take a break from Colored Raine. Okay, so it's not just about Juicy Boost, but my experience with Juicy Boost kind of reminded me of my experience with a couple of other palettes that I bought from Colored Raine recently, and that's why we're making this decision. So let's just talk about Juicy Boost. So first of all, this shimmer formula is not one that I've seen Colored Raine do before, but it's pretty cool. It's an interesting formula. So I call it interesting because, okay, so the pink color in particular, it reminds me of the loose flaky shadows that you see a lot of indie brands doing, but it's in a pressed format. Now, here's the other thing about this cool texture formula. It's gonna look textured on your eyelids. So if that's not the kind of formula you're looking for in your shimmers, I get maybe not being in love with this. I think they're pretty fucking cool though. And while again they are different from previous shimmers from Colored Raine, I'm not upset about them. And I think that if Colored Raine had done like 6 shimmers instead of 3, I would probably feel differently about this palette. So these 3, they're just like a teaser, they're just a taste, and it's like I want more. So yeah, those are the three shimmers. I generally have no complaints besides wanting more of them. I think they're an okay match for the colors in here, although honestly having just one turquoise and then a turquoise shimmer, I feel like I would have rather seen a green shimmer or even a orange, or yeah, I would have rather seen a different color shimmer. So generally I feel good about the shimmers, but I'm not like, I just wanted more. So I just did a review for the Lethal Cosmetics After Dark palette, and I've realized that the type of shadows where you have to kind of just pack on the colors and lightly blend the edges or lightly blend colors together, they're not my favorite formula. I don't feel like I have the like kind of eye space to do that. I don't feel as excited to use those kinds of shadows. And what I'm finally coming around to is that that is the formula that Colored Raine is using. So it like instantly I'm not super excited about them now that I finally come to that realization. Now, okay, so let's talk, first of all, a white matte. I talked about this in the Lethal video. I don't care about a white matte shadow. And this, even on my finger, doesn't even look very pigmented. So I'm a little lost on how helpful that would be. Now, the two greens, Cucumber Avocado and Mint Leaves. With Cucumber Avocado and Mint Leaves, I think that they are pretty greens, and there's a likelihood I will use them in my collection as single shadows. The thing that I found though with some of these lighter shadows is that when I would try to get them opaque, like more opaque in color payoff, they would start to look very like chalky and kind of like there was too much product there, but they aren't getting that solid color payoff at first swipe. So you kind of have to build them up. And I experienced that with Cucumber Avocado. I think I would also experience that with Citrus Zinger, but this yellow is so light that it really doesn't even show up on my skin tone. So that was a pretty big bummer, if I have to say. Like, I love yellow, and this yellow just kind of blends right into my skin tone. And I'm not that yellow. I mean, I am yellow, but I'm not that yellow. So it's disappointing that the pigmentation was just, I guess that's soft. Also, speaking of yellow, I also felt like Ginger Bay just doesn't have the impact that I was expecting. And let me tell you, Colored Raine makes my favorite yellow matte ever, Lemon Drop. So I was so excited to have two more yellows from Colored Raine, and both of these are just, they just don't do it for me. Ginger Bay is a little bit better for me than Citrus Zinger. I'm still not able to get that intense yellow color that I'm really wanting with it. So that is also kind of unfortunate. Okay, I'm gonna bounce back to the top row with Energy Boost and Kale Yeah. So Energy Boost, this turquoise, it's a pretty color. I applied it all over one eye as like just a solid like wash of color. I felt like I could kind of build it up to get generally decent opacity, but something that I found with I think almost all of these colors is a struggle with a little bit of patchiness. So I'm pretty sure, if I'm remembering right, that Energy Boost, I had that same issue. And then Kale Yeah is the dark green. And Kale Yeah, I also struggled with this one. So I only used Kale Yeah to deepen up an outer V, and I had with an eye where I used Mint Leaves and Cucumber Avocado. And I felt like I could get a nice smokiness But again, I still felt like there was some patchiness. It wasn't kind of a perfect application. Now, I'm not the type to reach for a really deep dark color like that regularly, but I would like to be able to just go in and add some depth. Like, it's something that I did today with a darker purple from Lethal, and I didn't have to worry so much. Whereas a color like this, I think I would have to baby it to be able to use it even in small doses. Okay, I'm gonna bounce to the bottom row because I had started talking about that. So turmeric shot, orange carrot, and sweet potato mango. I will say that turmeric shot is probably one of the prettiest oranges in my collection. It's not swatching nice at all, and my finger is stained, but it is a pretty color. I'm excited to have turmeric shot. It's a bright orange that leans pretty yellow. It's just a really pretty color, and you know, I'm not one to rave about oranges, but I think it's a really nice orange. I also think that orange carrot is pretty nice. I work with it once or twice, but I work with it in a way where, especially the first time I worked with it, it was in a big area where I was doing blush draping, and I struggled with it a bit. But I think as a whole, especially when you pair it with turmeric shot, these two colors are really nice oranges. But again, orange is not why I bought the palette. Like, I didn't really buy it for the oranges, so that is fine. Now, sweet potato mango, I think I forgot to use that one. It's a nice orangey brown. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see that. I, of course, weirdly swatched those three. It's a pretty cool, like, this could be a good color for fall. Let's say that. Like, especially those three together, I feel like that would be a cool, like, orange fall look. But, again, not my favorite shade. So, and I think in a really colorful palette like this, I would have rather seen like the red in that spot, and then maybe like a purple or something like that instead. So, you know, put this red here and then make this like a purple or a different turquoise or something like that. Okay, now we have the middle row, which is a very pink row. So pink grapefruit, cranberry vanilla, and berry beet. Those are the three pink mattes. Here's the thing that I saw happening with them when I work with them, is that you don't really need cranberry vanilla, the middle pink, because if you put it next to pink grapefruit and berry beet, it really creates that color anyway. So for a palette with 18 colors, that feels like a throwaway in this weird way. Like, it doesn't feel different enough from the other two pinks to make it really like a worthy spot here. And I guess I would just think, I don't know, I just feel like that cranberry vanilla, maybe on its own, the middle pink that's a little bit more warmer, maybe on its own it's a really gorgeous color, but like I said, when I put it with the other two pinks, it basically went away. It was the perfect blend between the two tones. And for me, somebody that likes to play with a lot of color, like when I'm curating my own palettes, I a lot of times will eliminate colors that were like, I know I can put color A and color B together to get color C. Then I will eliminate color C from the palette so that it's not so bloated. And I feel like that's what they could have done here, but they didn't. And then Watermelon Detox is a really pretty color, but I also experienced some patchiness with it when I tried to do, I did a two-toned eye. One had the Watermelon Detox and the other eye had Energy Boost, the turquoise. And again, I felt like I couldn't get a solid like swath of color with this shadow. And I tried so many different kinds of brushes when working with these shadows. I tried my my natural hair rougher brushes are usually my go-to without a doubt, especially my 13s. But even with these kind of shades, I tried like packer style brushes where I would just like, you know, literally try to pack on the color and then just like blend out the edges. I tried, you know, brushes that have more of this kind of shape where they're fluffy but they're also kind of flat. Like I basically dipped throughout my collection to try different brushes, and I felt like with every look there was some level of patchiness happening. And I don't know, it's I mean, and that's true with, I mean, just about all of the shades. Now I can't say that I've used every single shade to its full capacity, but I just generally don't feel excited to reach for these colors again because of the struggle that I've had with this formula. And it's frustrating. And I've tried it with my go-to eye primer is the Smashbox eye primer. I've tried it with that one. I've also tried it with the ABH, the very white eye primer that's stickier. And I didn't feel like either one was particularly helpful with the patchiness issues. And the reason why I wanted to have a bigger conversation about how I think it's time for me to give Color Raine a break is that I felt like I had a similar experience with some of the colors from Safari Raine. Now, the thing that I've realized with Color Raine is that their color stories might not be for me. So Color Raine is owned by a black woman. I'm a white woman. I have very light skin. So a color story like Safari Raine, I realized pretty quickly that I needed some transitional tones for me. Like with the green that's in Safari Raine. It's brilliant when I pair it with a lighter, like I have a chartreuse green from Lethal. If I put that down first and then go in with the Color Raine color, it like blends together really nicely. But then I see a palette like this and I'm like, okay, well, I have some of those lighter colors. I have the light green, the light yellow, the light pink, and I was still struggling with some of the same issues of like some patchiness or some tendency for like color to stick in one spot and then not as well in another spot. So yeah, I think that on a whole, I need to take a break from the brand. And I do think that, so, you know, I talk a lot about how brands are not people, they do not have feelings, but there are some brands that I was just highly partial towards, and I love them, and I like what they release, and I want to support them. And I had to face facts that with Color Raine, I made this decision. I spent $52 on a palette because I had this inherent trust, because I was like, no, they're an awesome brand. I trust what they've released. They do great shit. And now I have to admit that, like, our styles may have changed. Whether or not it's that they have drastically changed their formulas, or that some of the formulas that I thought I loved are just not what they're doing anymore. I'm not sure what it is exactly. And that's why, like, I joked in the beginning where I'm like, it's not me, it's you, Color Raine. But the reality is that it could be either part of the, like, either side of the equation could have changed. We both could have changed. I don't feel inherently inspired to use their eyeshadows the way I used to. So I'm making this video to say, like, yes, I was definitely biased towards what they released, and I'm not so much now. And I have to remember that I still do have the ability to be highly influenced by a brand. It's just not mainstream brands these days. It's not the Urban Decays or the ABH or whatever. It's the Color Raine, the JD Glow, the Divinas. And I have to remember that so that, you know, when they release something new, I'm not just inherently like, you know what, I'm willing to give it a try because it's this brand. It's like, no, do you want it? Do you actually want it? Do you want at least 50% percent of the shadows in the collection or in the palette. Like, all of those things that I would say to people that are drawn to mainstream brands. I have to remind myself of that with these indie brands. So yeah, I feel a little bit like this review is a little incomplete because the other difficult thing with a big palette is that there are so many colors, and I feel like I could retest and retest and retest so many times. But I just had to come on here and at least say where I'm at right now is that I'm not loving the palette. I'm not loving how the shadows work with each other. I will take them out and, you know, incorporate them into my single collection and play with them there, and over time we'll see if they end up being something that I want to declutter, or if I find, you know, different primers to work with them, or if my style changes. But unfortunately, I'm not as happy with this as I was hoping I would be, and just wanted y'all to know that. So yeah, that is my Juicy Boost experience so far. If y'all have this palette, or if you have shadows that maybe look or seem similar to this in terms of performance, and you have primers that you love with them that work better, let me know. I'm definitely open to trying other primers. And I'm open to trying other techniques or things like that. I know I don't know everything, so I'm open to like learning and discovering new things to get a better use out of products I've already bought. On that note, let me know if you enjoyed this video. Let me know if this was helpful at all, or if you want any other insight on Juicy Boost that I didn't cover here. Feel free to leave your questions in the comment section. And yeah, I guess that's everything. So if you like this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you have not already, to see more of these colorful shenanigans. And yeah, hopefully I'll see you again real soon. Thank you so much for spending a bit of your day with me. Bye, friends.